Hi, this is Kylie Thompson, host of Food for Thought. Thanks for listening to the following podcast on Public House Media.
Hey, you're listening to Let's Hustle with Lee and Chelsea. We are two girls making our way in sales and entrepreneurship.
We set out to make this podcast after entering our late 20s and realizing we were hitting a wall and felt like our lives and careers were stagnant. After expressing this feeling to countless other women, we realized we weren't alone.
So each week we're bringing you real conversations with real people that are authentic, realistic, and relatable in hopes that you can grow into the best version of yourself. So strap in and let's hustle. Hey friends.
Hello.
I don't know if you noticed, but it's another Thursday.
It is. We
And-
made it to another one.
Just one more.
Just one more Thursday.
We'll
Here we
shoot
are.
for the next two. So
Thursday. What a concept.
what? The day before Friday. The day after Wednesday.
Anyways, here we are.
Here we are.
Welcome to Let's Hustle podcast with Lee and Chelsea.
Hey, girl.
We are here for another week of talking about how to help yourself and others and your life, and
Etc. Etc.
mostly what we do every week is we sit down and we say, what do I need to work on this week? And then we're like, I need to work on this. Great, let's
Let's do
research
it.
it and talk about it
I think
on the
that's perfect.
podcast and share our knowledge with other people.
So that's what we're doing today.
that's what we're doing.
But first, we're going to complain.
Yeah, no, do it, obviously.
I don't know what it's been, but this whole week I've been extra salty.
I think isn't Mercury in retrograde right now?
Mercury is always in retrograde. Let's just clear
stays-
this up.
She stays in retrograde.
Let's just say retrograde is in Mercury.
Yeah.
Okay. A few things I want to complain about.
Okay.
Tick Tock. I hate it when people do a part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, but in the part 2, they basically redo part 1, telling you about it, and they're almost out of time. So they just go to part 3, and then they make up so in part 2, blah, blah, blah happened, and then they're almost out of time, and I'm like, this could have been a 3-part series. Shut up. Like, it makes me I'm like, I'm this far into it. I know what happened in part 1 and 2.
Right. It's like, I don't need to go, like, it's all on your page. Like, I see it on your page.
Like,
it
I
says
found
part
it.
1, part 2, part 3,
And
part 4.
this was on my
Yeah.
For You page, so if I'm seeing part 3, that probably means, oh, I'm going to go look at their page. And I'm going to look at part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, or whatever. And I really don't need the recap. Okay.
That is really annoying. I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah. So I just really needed to get that out there. I was thinking about making a TikTok video of that, but I was like,
You should do a parody of it where it's just part 1 is all talking about like what you're going to be covering in part 2, 3, and 4. And then part 2 is like what you covered in part 1. And it could be a series on how annoying it is when people make part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4 videos.
Okay, I've never been more excited.
You're welcome. I'm a
Thank
comedic
you.
genius.
Basically, you have all the content.
This is a great idea, and I think we got to do this.
Yeah. But other than that, I guess I didn't have a lot to complain about. Just that was pretty annoying
Okay.
if we are, talking about things and stuff.
Yeah.
So
That is really nice. What's getting on my nerves this week? I don't know. Just, people on Twitter drive me crazy a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Soccer people.
Yeah.
Drive me insane.
Yeah.
Like, big time insane.
Oh, I already offered to fight them.
There's a lot of drama going on within the USL and within the NWSL. And it's like, I could literally tweet out, I like soccer, and some idiot with no profile photo whose name is UK Blue Fan 7243 could be like, I really have a problem with that statement, because if you say you like something, does that mean that you love it? Because you're really not being definitive enough. And do you mean you like soccer? Isn't it called football? It's just like, shut the up.
Yeah, you tell them, girl.
And it's just like that with everything. I just hate Twitter sometimes.
I'm just saying.
But that's okay. I digress.
It's okay.
I digress. Because besides that, I think I'm having a pretty good week,
Oh,
I guess.
tell me about your week.
I don't know. Well, I just started bartending at a new place, and I'm exhausted from it already. But you know, we're seeing how it's gonna work out. It seems pretty cool so far. The people are very nice.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing about bartending jobs is it's not, you know, a huge onboarding process. Um, and so I can always quit if I don't like it.
Absolutely. Or sell your kidney.
Yeah.
There's options out there.
Yeah, I could totally do that.
Well, I think that kind of leads into what we want to talk about today.
Yeah. Oh, wait, how's your week? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Wait, dude,
no,
I'm
it's
an
fine.
asshole.
No.
How
No.
are you?
My week's been great. Just busy. Working.
Yeah? And you have an awesome team?
Oh my gosh, you guys. I have recruited the creme de la creme of teams. And they are my team. And we are Team Can Do. Chelsea, Allison, Nick. Because we can do it. And our initials spell can. So, like, why wouldn't we do that? So.
I love that.
We are big fans of each other. We're just like the Tres Amigos.
Ugh. R.I.P. Tres Amigos said.
I know.
OC Housewives. What a
Seriously.
reference.
We're the new Tres Amigos.
I like it.
But yeah, it's been fine. But Lee had she wanted this to be the episode name because it's awesome. And so I'm going to turn this over to Lee.
So today's episode is how to argue like a boss.
Also known as
Conflict revolution. Wow. I mean, no, let's just stick with conflict revolution. I like that a lot more. Conflict resolution.
yes.
Otherwise known as conflict resolution, because we're realizing more and more that people are arguing with each other like cats and dogs these days.
Literally.
And so we just figured, you know, I think that we could really benefit from talking about this and figuring out different ways to do this effectively. And this could also be applied to not only professional situations, like, you know, a conflict you have with a coworker, a boss, a client,
customer.
you know, whatever.
Wavelength.
Or personally,
Yeah.
you know, friends, family,
Lovers.
Wow, again. Lovers. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Well, one of the things that, whilst we were researching, there was a lot of the same things that was just like the same thing. So a lot of the same things are the same things. Good definition. So we talked to Big A and we asked his opinion because he's really great at conflict resolution. He's like, he just tries to come at it with a very level head, take a step back, level with the people, see it from their perspective, bring them into his perspective, and then just try to have a really smooth conversation and find some resolution. But out of all the things that we talked about or researched, one of my favorite was, gosh dang it, Cosmopolitan, from the Cosmopolitan magazine. It's my favorite.
Is that your favorite article from Cosmo?
Well, this one, from all of our research, the article on how to argue
Ooh.
was from Cosmopolitan, and it was my favorite.
Dude, yes.
And it tied in everything from other articles that I read about, but it had a few more that I just like made me like, okay.
I love it.
I really love that.
Let's hit it. Let's
do this.
dive in.
So I'm going to pull from Big A. Always, always, always come at it with a level head, because you need a level head. If you get that almond part in your brain.
Your amygdala?
Yep. That was fun figuring out how to say that. When your amygdala gets worked up, it uses the whole more emotional side versus logical. So you need to come at it with a level head and keep it logical.
Chill out your amygdala. Tell your amygdala, you know what? I love you today. I don't need you. Or maybe I do need you. Maybe if it controls emotions. Maybe tell your amygdala, just work with me here.
I'm just going to call her Amy.
Amy, work with me.
Amy, I need you.
Amy, I need you
to channel those feelings into logic. Can you tell your neighbor over there to just like...
Amy G. Dalla.
Help me. Amy G. Dalla, will you please tell your neighbor that we could really use her right now?
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you the name of the logic side because I don't want you to feel stupid.
Right. Exactly. Of course not.
So I'm not going to share that because too smart.
Right.
So keep it logical. Like, come with facts because you will always win when you fight with facts versus emotion.
Absolutely.
Always.
I'm never going to, if I'm mad at my boss or if I'm upset at my boss for, missing an email and telling his supervisor that I didn't do something, even though I emailed it to him, I'm not going to run in and be like, you literally never answer any of my emails. You never see any of my emails. I'm going to say, hey, this one email that I know you missed, this is the one issue that I have. Don't exaggerate. Come at him with facts.
I just resend it.
I'll just, yeah.
Please
as per my
below.
last email, bitch. Our brains are on a wavelength tonight that I've never seen before.
It's because we had one piece of pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we did.
And a Hershey nugget. I need to hit my macros.
Yeah, I love it.
Anyways, so keep it logical.
Early. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Logical.
You're saving up for the week. Let's look at it as an average.
Absolutely.
So that was logic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we talked about this last week, but using I statements versus you statements because the you feels more as an attack versus a leveling ground. So the you statement's like, I feel when you say this to me like this.
I feel like this.
Yeah.
Right.
When you say this to me, it makes me feel like, or I really love it when we have these arguments and you do this.
Yes. Because not only is that not attacking them, but if they're listening and if hopefully they are arguing and revolutionizing the way that you are, because if you actually say, hey, this is how I feel, and they're actually open to listen, then they're going to receive this argument and understand a lot more, how you're feeling. Yeah. So, yeah, it's always, even though arguing isn't about you, you should make it about you when you're trying to explain something that the other person has done.
Yeah. Like a good one would be like, well, how would I say this? I really feel left out when you watch football all day. It's not personal.
Okay.
But just not placing the whole blame is pretty much
right. Instead of saying like, hey, you watch too much football.
Yeah. Be like, I just want to have something that we can do together, and I feel very left out.
Yeah.
When football is on the TV all day.
Right. Which, I mean, like, if I loved watching football and you came at me and you were like, why are you watching so much football? I hate this. I'd be like, screw you. I'm going to watch more. But if you were like, hey, you know what? This makes me feel like left out. I'd be like, oh my God, I never thought of it that way. Thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. Let's hang out.
Let's hang out. I'll explain the game.
But that's also me, and I really give in very easily to peer pressure. So
this is what Adam says. He says, well, I don't say anything when you watch your stupid housewives. I'm like, that's fair.
Well, touche.
Okay, you want popcorn? So avoid using I statements. I mean, use I statements. Avoid using you statements.
Yes.
Sorry.
Perfect. Love it.
The next one that I think is like really powerful, and also I want to like sidestep and say, like, arguing is a very strategic and developed technique. Mm-hmm. Like, I think people who have really great marriages or friendships or business relationships, they know how to argue with each other.
Yeah.
And it's a two-sided thing.
Yes.
And that two-sided can be taught. Mm-hmm. I think Adam is very more compassionate when he argues with me, and I've learned very mucho because there's 3 types of fight or flight. There's the type that clam up, there's the type that cry, and there's the type that see red. I'm crazy. I'm just going to tell you, I see red. I want to throw hands. And I'll be dipped in dog crap if you leave without addressing the situation.
Right.
What?
You like Hulk out.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, I commit to what it's wrong after, even though I decide that you're right, you're probably right.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the old me.
Yeah.
And what Adam has taught me is like, it's okay to take a break, which we will get to that point here in a second, and come back with a level head, because so much more comes from the argument to push you forward.
Mm-hmm.
If you just take a break.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you see more pink than red.
Can you take a guess at what mine is out of those 3?
Cry.
You thought right. Surprise, surprise. Crying.
It's just a way. So I was reading about that too, is crying is like your body's way of like releasing that built up stress because you're feeling attacked.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Because it's like, I feel like if I don't cry, I'll throw hands.
Freaking, I'm like, they're coming at you.
But I think it's more I'm crying because I'm like, I can't throw hands right now. I can't fight anybody. And so I just cry.
I just say, instant death or half a second faster. Which one you want? One fist is instant death. The other fist half a second faster. I give 2 options. I let it be their choice. And then we roll.
I love this. I like this style.
Yeah. Also, if you are a seer of the red, I recommend telling all of your friends how they can win you back over, because it's very easy.
Ooh, okay.
So,
How?
Thoughtful gifts.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Loving words.
Oh, words of affirmation. Gift giving. Love it.
We
Love
actually
languages.
love languages. So you and I, we talked about it a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, but remember when we had our little tiff?
Oh, yes, over the summer, because we thought we were going to...
It
wasn't our fault.
It wasn't our. It was another girl's fault.
Yeah, it's
and
trying to come in between us, and I'll
yeah,
kick her ass.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
How?
Sorry.
Anyways,
Yes.
we're still raging about that. Apparently, haven't quite let it go.
Go ahead.
So we were like angry,
Yeah.
both of us,
Yeah.
and we were both right and we were both wrong, but we were both angry.
We just had very differing opinions.
Yes.
So I don't think that neither of us were right or wrong.
Yeah.
And that's all it was.
Exactly.
Literally, that's all it was.
Exactly. And so we stepped away,
Mm-hmm.
and then Lee sent me a very, very heartfelt message. I started crying, and I was like,
I started crying as I was typing it.
I love you.
Me too. So it's like,
And Lee's crying right now.
of course I'm crying. See, I told you. But it's a moment that we both, in the moment, we were both very angry.
Very.
And instead of sitting there and yelling at each other and whatever, we took a step back.
Yep.
And I think that I want to say whenever we text, my text messages delete after a month. Otherwise, I go try to find receipts for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that whenever we did come back, it was like, hey, I'm so sorry. When you said X, Y, and Z, I took it as blah, 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 blah. And so that's... I love your clock, by the way.
Oh, that's my cuckoo clock.
I love her.
She's the best. I didn't realize I should have muted her, but like, this is a gift from my grandparents. It's a little taste of home. So if you want to dive deep into my childhood, take a listen. Yep. There's going to be some Germans that come out and start dancing. I'm not lying. They really do dance, and it's so cute.
Can you guys count? Oh.
Yep.
Wow.
No, it's real. It's definitely
I
a
actually
thing.
like this mood music a little bit.
So do I. But I just feel like I'm a little bit at home with my pop and grandma.
I love that.
And they're like my favorite people in the world, so it's very tender to me.
That's so cute. I'm a big fan.
But let's get back to throwing hands.
Oh, right. But no, I remember whenever we came back and reconvened, it was very much, hey, I'm so sorry when you said X, Y, and Z, I took it as this.
Yeah,
and this is not my
our
intention.
fight was so well.
It was,
done.
We
It was
resolved it.
beautiful.
I think we're closer from it.
Girl. Yes. We both know how each other argues.
Yes. We really do.
We really do.
Aw. Look at us.
Lee's gonna start crying again.
No. Change the subject.
Okay, so
never mind.
no, say it.
I woke up. Shane plays.
Oh my gosh.
Every night when we go to bed, Shane plays Endgame every night.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Without fail, I wake up as Captain America yells, Avengers Assemble. Doesn't matter what time it is in the night, I wake up. And then I wake up and I'm like, well, I gotta watch this, obviously. And so then I cry and then I fall back asleep. So every night in the middle of the night, I wake up and I cry and I fall back asleep.
Okay, this is so off topic. This is like shows how ADD we are.
I was thinking about crying.
Okay, but like this is the opposite spectrum.
Okay.
So, you guys, judge me, don't judge me. Take this as a tip. I don't care. YOLO.
Yeah.
But I have this thing called a sleepy time cocktail. And it is life-changing. I highly recommend it.
I just discovered what her sleepy time cocktail was 2 nights ago.
They were like, that sounds good. I was like, it is. And they're like, what's in your sleepy time cocktail? And I said, 2 melatonin gummies and 1 Benadryl.
Yeah.
You're out. I can only
like
imagine that my dreams are the equivalent of someone tripping on acid.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
I can only imagine.
Gosh.
I frequently wake myself up laughing. Like, I will be laughing in my dream, and it'll be out loud, and I will wake myself up. I'm like, and I'm literally, it's the best. If you've never woken yourself up laughing from a dream, like, take the sleepy time cocktail.
Shane does that all the time.
I love it.
Like, he'll wake up, like, hysterically laughing, and I'll be like, what is it? And I'll be like, oh, he's asleep. I wish. I have night terrors, so I either wake up screaming or crying. Like, I've never woken up laughing before, and I'm really jealous of you.
Honestly, it is like the best. Like, it's the best. Adam one day was like, what? Like, are you sane? And I was like, a little bit, but like, if you were in this dream, like, you would be dying. So, anyways, I digress. So, let's get back to the task at hand.
Yeah, anyways, we were talking about our conflict that we had, and, taking a break, stepping away.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that.
Yes.
So, the other thing that I really love that I thought was like, wow, that's what I was saying. It's like an art form because it takes a lot of skill. It takes knowing your partner, friend, coworker, respect, knowing them, all of those things. And one of the biggest things I think that wasn't in any of the other articles, but I was like, freaking yes, is it's don't bring up the past. Because when you bring in the past, you end up just going tit for tat. You did this, I did that. And it doesn't keep you from going anywhere. It just stops you right where you're at.
Yep.
So you're just playing a game of tennis, if you will. And I'm like, that's really true because how can you ever I think when it comes to forgiveness, you have to forget, and move on.
Absolutely.
And maybe you don't totally forget, but you learn from it. Mm-hmm. And hopefully that other person has learned from it and bringing it back up to them isn't going to help any.
Exactly. Especially if you've already forgiven.
Oh,
because if you have forgiven, you don't have a right to bring it back up. Because if it was that big of a deal,
you shouldn't have.
Then you shouldn't have forgiven them.
Yep.
For that thing.
Agreed.
Boom.
So, like, literally, that is my favorite part of this entire thing is don't bring up the past because it's not doing you any favors. And put yourself in their position. What if they were bringing up the past on you? How does that make you feel?
Oh, it would make you feel terrible.
Yeah.
Especially if...
And mad and angry. And then Amy G. Dalla is, like, worked up.
Amy G is mad.
Okay, we're renaming this podcast episode to Amy G.
Amy G. Dalla.
Damn! Amy G. Dalla. Back at it again with the white vans. I couldn't help it.
No, it was great. Yeah. Well, and, like... Especially if you're arguing about a certain thing that's happening right then, why are you going to bring up the past? You're trying to argue about one certain thing that just happened, most likely. Yeah. One incident. You need to resolve that incident. If you need to talk about the past, have a different conversation about it.
Thank you.
Bring it up at another time.
Thank you.
Don't bring it up right then when you're having an argument about something that just happened 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, it literally does no one any favors, and it doesn't help your argument in any way, shape, or form.
At all.
You're just rude.
That's right. And annoying.
So, anyways, rude and annoying. Listen to the next one, which is to listen and clarify what you don't understand. One of the biggest problems in fighting or conflict or anything like that is misunderstanding. So you got to you have to understand what they're saying.
Yes.
You know, so ways that you can say or ask this is like, can I check this is what you meant? Or this is what I understand from what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, like, honestly, if you're having a conversation or a conflict or an argument, there's a miscommunication somewhere and you've got to figure out, like, what that is. Because if you don't understand, you'll never figure it out.
Exactly. And you have to realize a lot of people, if they are really upset or if they're really angry about something, sometimes they're not going to be as articulate as they could be when they're calm. So you have to stop and be like, hey, when you say this, do you mean, like, this is what I think you mean? Like, is that what you actually mean?
Exactly.
Because by you just, like, getting more mad at them for not saying exactly what they want to say.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to be understanding. You have to be understanding. You have to clarify.
100%.
And you have to just be cool.
Just be cool, man.
Be cool.
Yeah. Okay, so that leads us to our next one, which is make requests rather than complaints.
Ugh. I love that.
So do I.
And a lot of times people miss that.
Big time.
They just want to say, when you do this, I feel like this. And the other person's supposed to come up with a solution.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes they can, but maybe suggest a solution.
Well, if it's as a partner, a partnership, a friendship, you're supposed to be growing together. So that solution should be something that you're creating together. Mm-hmm. If you're working with a client and they're unhappy, you've got to figure out, okay, well, why are you unhappy? Mm-hmm. And you have to come to a conflict resolution together, which ensures the customer satisfaction as well as your ability to meet their needs.
Yep, absolutely.
So you're not overpromising and be like, well, I told you this. Well, I understood it this way. That's why contracts are so important in a legal in like a business sense.
Absolutely.
So it's laid out in black and white.
Yep.
You got to plan the divorce before you plan the marriage.
Girl, that's the truth.
Oh.
But yeah, well, and if you are able to come up with a solution, I think it also kind of diffuses the situation, because instead of the person just sitting here thinking like, oh my gosh, how am I getting out of this? I messed up, I don't know. Instead of them getting on the defensive, actually making a suggestion of something you can do to get past it is so much easier for someone to grab a hold on, and it's a common ground that you both can agree on, because now you're agreeing on something because you've found something that you can do towards the future. Like the boss example that I gave earlier.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, in the future, if you are upset with me for not sending you an email, instead of going to your supervisor, why don't you come to me and double check that you didn't read it or that I sent it, or you know what I mean? Like some sort of future steps to ensure that conflict does not happen again.
Well, it gives you both the power to change what's going to happen next.
Absolutely.
So you're right. Your thing. And also, when you have a conversation with someone, you take the argument from an argument to a conversation where it's like, hey, I feel like I'm being unheard when this goes on. And I want to talk to you about like how we can be on the same level and make sure that I understand how you feel and you understand how I feel. And I want to come together and like get a conclusion and a happy medium or something together. How much more easy is that to talk to that person and really open up and have a successful conversation than you're rude and I don't like it when you do that and that's not fair and it makes me feel like garbage and I wish you would stop doing this.
Yep.
Like every time, hey, I wish you would shut the cupboard doors. Be like, if you walk by, do you think maybe you could just close those? I don't know.
You don't mind?
Be like, hey, I noticed there's some trash on the counter. When you walk to your car, I would be really helpful, or it would really help me out if you just put that in the trash can.
Right, because I'm doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So you do.
Just ask for, be like, it would really mean something to me if you could do this, because it makes me feel some kind of way.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
No, I love that. Yeah. Well, and I think this also can... Wait, were you going to move on? I'm sorry.
No.
Are you sure? Okay.
I'm positive.
This also can be applied to a lot of, I would say, politically irrelevant things happening right now. A lot of families and friends disagreeing on a lot of things.
It's Thanksgiving time.
It is Thanksgiving time, and you're about to encounter a lot of things. And I think kind of keeping this in mind of people very, very, very strongly disagree with each other, and no matter how right or wrong you are, sometimes getting overly angry, it literally does not matter if you're right at all. it's never, ever going to be helpful. It doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't make the other person feel good. It doesn't help the situation.
They're not going to talk to you to get your viewpoint, which could essentially maybe one day, I don't know, change their point of view.
Correct. If I screamed at you and I was like, F you, you're a dumb idiot, do you think your response to me is going to be like, wow, I value her opinion. What else do you have?
No.
What else do you want to tell me about?
Like, really? We're about to throw hands.
Right, exactly. You just have to remember, like, you have to have very, very, even though it's exhausting, you just have to come at any disagreement with acknowledgement, calmness,
and respect,
and solutions. Ooh. And even if that solution is, hey, in the future, we're not going to talk about this.
Yeah.
At all.
Literally.
We're going to ignore it. And if you ever do anything very, very bad, maybe we can talk about it then. But until then, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
So.
Smart.
Oh, God, I feel for everyone this Thanksgiving. What's going to happen? This whole year has been so stupid.
And we are derailed again.
Sorry. I've been so distracted tonight. What is happening?
I don't know, but we both are like struggle bussing.
I know. But I feel like this conversation is I feel like we've made great points. I feel like I've learned a few things.
Wonderful point.
I've been reminded of ways to debate and have conflict resolution.
I love a good revolution.
Who doesn't love a revolution? Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
good.
Well, I was just going to say, steering this boat back in
No,
the
please
water.
steer it back.
We talked about it a little bit, but it was taking time out so you could come back with a level head.
Ooh, absolutely.
Set a 20-minute timer on your phone. Go for a walk. Take a shower. Go for a drive. Whatever. Just take yourself out of the situation for 20 minutes. Not 2 days, not 2 weeks, not 2 hours. 20 minutes.
Yes.
And just level your head.
That is a very good amount of time. Because
it's the perfect amount of time.
It's the amount of time for you to calm down, but you still, everything that you need to say is probably on the tip of your tongue, but it'll be a lot more sugar-coated, essentially.
Amygdala won't be like
she
clouding
won't be
your words.
You need to give her a second to calm down. She just ran a marathon. She needs to take a rest.
This makes me think of Britney's song, If You Seek Amy.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're right. Maybe that's what it actually was about. It wasn't about that, but...
I don't know why, but we can... Okay, here I go again.
Yeah. Sorry. Wow. Get off topic. But yeah, and I think it's very important to remember that when you are in these step-away situations, you cannot make this a 2-day thing if it's personal. Maybe if it's professional, you don't have time that day, and it's like, hey, Friday at noon, why don't we sit down and chat this out?
Yeah, set a time.
But you can do that. But I think personally, with either friendships or relationships, I do not, this is just my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with me.
But you should.
I don't think that it should be days at all. Because I think that
can cause more harm than good because feelings are going to get hurt.
And you're manipulating the other person. It's like, oh, sorry,
yes.
I need 2 days. You aren't allowed to talk about this until I'm ready.
Also,
no.
Also, then it makes you sit there and just simmer on it. And what if you don't? What if the issue really isn't that big of an issue because you didn't understand?
Correct.
And so then you get overworked and upset. And it's like when you watch a movie and the girl walks away right before the guy pushes the other girl away because he doesn't want to kiss her. But all the one girl does is see that they almost kissed. Yeah. And it's like, Becky, if you would have waited around for like literally
5 seconds,
you would have noticed. But then she ignores him for days and he's like, well, what's wrong? And then they break up.
You gotta tell him. I mean, that would be a very interesting movie where they just got along the whole time. But actually, no, I would watch that. I don't even care.
I'd watch it.
I get high anxiety. I like when people get along.
It's called Joanna and Chip Gaines. They always get along.
I love it.
So there's that. But we've also said this before. Decide what is worth an argument. There are certain things that just aren't worth it. Girl.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I always tell myself this when I think about, like, if Adam doesn't put the dishes in the dishwasher, or if he throws his clothes in the corner, or if it takes him 2 months to unpack his bags from a trip that we just took 2 months ago.
Not specific. This is hypothetical.
This is
Yeah.
speaking as a completely objective third-party observer with absolutely no personal interest in the matter. If they don't unpack their bags for 2 months, is it really that big of a deal? Because what if, I mean, this is like really dark, but just go for this ride with me.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm here for the darkness.
What if your last fight, because they get in a car wreck or have like a brain aneurysm or some freak accident, I don't know. I'm just, like I said, dark ride, buckle up.
Right.
Your last fight is about clothes in the corner. Or your last fight is about a stupid bag that he didn't unpack. And then you're there, sad, missing him unpacking his bag.
And that's your last conversation.
And that over a bag.
It's just not worth having.
It's not worth having. It's just not. Just not. That's why when I get upset about that, I really would like our closet to be very well organized. But
at the end of the day, is it like hurting anyone?
It's not hurting
anyone.
It's
just, it's just like, ugh, I wish this were like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's just, there's things that I do. I know this is a surprise to many of you listeners and you, Lee. But I do some things that are annoying every once in a while. I am not the most easy person to live with from time to time. I have mood swings.
Right? Who doesn't?
I leave trash on the counter from wrappers. Sometimes I'll go until I don't have any underwear before I wash all of my underwear. Really, the list could go on, but I don't really want to share more. So, there's just, you got to decide with it whether it's worth it. And if that bag is really that important to you, then you should go to counseling, maybe. I don't know.
Right, like maybe there's
maybe
some
it's
underlying
more
things.
Yeah.
That it's not the bag.
It's not the bag, honey.
It's not the
So
bag.
decide what's worth it, and remember, an argument could be your last argument. Wow.
Anyways, so we're all going to die. Hope you have a great Thursday. Talk to you next week.
TGIF.
Oh my God.
Tomorrow. But I'm like shook right now. Okay, so just remember that. But then the other part of this is the aftermath of the argument. Like, how do you make up after a fight? Whether it's your partner, your work partner, your friend, your coworker, your boss. The thing is, and I know what you're all thinking, but that's not the thing that I'm going to say, so keep it to yourself.
Get your mind out of the gutter, honey.
Listen to their side of the story. People want to feel heard. You want to feel heard. I want to feel heard. We all just want to feel heard. We want you to know that you hear us. I want to know when I'm fighting with someone who's like, look, Chelsea, I hear what you're saying. And this is what, I take from that. And this is how, figure out how you're going to fight for yourself. Okay?
No, for
but,
sure.
But, you got to listen to their side.
And, sorry, if I'm taking my time to tell you something, I don't like to just talk to talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm talking,
says the host of a podcast.
Oh my God, I know I'm an idiot. Do we just roast ourselves?
We just roasted ourselves hard.
It's fine. But if I'm having an argument with you, I'm talking because I want you to hear me. Like, I'm not just talking for fun. If I wanted to talk for fun, I would have a podcast, and that's what I do. Or I would just go talk to myself in the mirror, which I do.
You also do that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
wow.
It's weird.
Yeah. So if someone's taking the time out to speak to you personally about something
and
that's
keeping those
them,
lines of communication open,
you gotta listen.
You've got to, or you're gonna be playing tennis again.
Yes. And not in a fun, friendly way.
Not in a fun, friendly way, no.
And
you're going to be playing with Serena Williams, and it's the first time you pick that racket up.
And you're not going to have fun.
No.
You will not like it.
You'll lose real quick.
Yes.
So I'm going to summarize this.
Okay.
I'm going to read the list.
I love it.
So, 1, keep it logical. Get all your ducks in a row. Get your facts straight. Keep it logical. 2, use I statements. 3, do not bring up the past, Becky. Okay? Number 4, listen and clarify what you don't understand. Number 5, make requests rather than complaints. Number 6, put on that 20-minute timer and take a timeout. Number 7, decide what's worth arguing. And after the fight, the aftermath, and how to make it up, listen to their side of the story and keep the lines of communication open.
I love this.
And your relationship is now
Fixed.
boom.
We solved all your problems.
Yeah, so that's what we want to talk about today. Because we're home a lot, either with our significant others or maybe you're not with them. So communication is more important than ever. And healthy communication is more important than ever. And
Just
arguing
in the world, it is more important than ever right now. You know what I mean?
Literally educating yourself.
Yes.
Like knowing what you're talking about rather than just saying it because that's what someone else says.
Right. Logic, facts. That's where you have to come from.
Yep.
And not an emotional state. Even though you might get emotional, that's totally normal. Amy likes to act up.
Amy gets wild.
She does get wild, and that's totally fine. But sometimes you got to realize, is this worth it?
Well,
we just applied all this. I'm really happy for us.
We did like circles. So, yeah, I was going to say also something, but like I forgot. Whoops.
We're going to talk about knowing things.
I honestly don't know.
Oh, me neither.
Well, it must not have been that important.
Yep, probably wasn't.
Oh, it was important.
Okay.
When you are arguing, it takes a lot of energy out of you. And especially if you don't argue well or like strategically,
Me.
then it's just going to deplete your reservoir. So don't do that to yourself.
Don't do it.
And know that you're worth it. I just felt like you should hear that today.
Yeah. And if you have someone who's really bad at arguing,
Tag them.
Tell them to listen to this podcast. Tag them.
Tag them. Just put them in the tag.
Like, hey, you know what? I found this really helpful. Maybe you would find it helpful as well.
Not only helpful, but hilarious. And the host, easy on the eyes.
Easy on you. Not right now.
Speak for yourself. I've got mascara down to my
you
chin.
Look beautiful. Like, you still have makeup on from today.
Okay,
my
but
hair
it's
is
like
dirty and I'm gross.
Barely lingering. Okay, it says
great.
the girl that just got her nails done, got her eyelashes tinted, and got her face dermaplaned. I think this episode's over.
Okay, I look pretty good. That's good. All right.
Yeah, we love you. Anyways, thanks so much for listening. I hope this helps you fight responsibly and argue like a boss.
Argue like a boss, girl.
Argue like a boss. And we hope that you enjoyed this episode. It would be very helpful, dearest listener. I'm coming at you from a very sincere place. It helps us when you like, rate, and review our podcast. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your coworker, tell that recruiter that's recruiting you. Tell everybody, tell all the people, because it helps us, and that is how you can support us with no cost to you.
Yep.
So please go rate, review, subscribe, and listen next week.
Bye.
Bye.